Taika Waititi, take notes. Hey everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today I'm going to talk about David Leitch's latest ensemble action comedy, Bullet Train. I post new movie reviews and shorts weekly, so if you don't want to miss any of them, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified whenever I post. Yeah, let's get started. From the opening scenes of Bullet Train, I could tell this movie was going to be something special. The film isn't content with just being another by-the-numbers, cookie-cutter action film. Instead, it owns its craziness and its violence and its absurdity to bring us one of the most unique and fun movies of the year. Bullet Train follows 5 assassins on separate missions that somehow all end up on the same bullet train. We've got Brad Pitt as Ladybug, a goofy dude with a chronic case of bad luck that's led him down a path of peace and redemption. Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson as violent, bickering English twins, Lemon and Tangerine. Joey King as Prince, a cunning psychopath with an eerily effective little girl persona that she can turn on and off as easily as you and I are breathing. And Bad Bunny as Wolf, a cartel lord on a brutal mission of revenge. Ladybug's mission is a snatch and grab, as he calls it.
What am I snatching and or grabbing?
A briefcase.
Get in, get the briefcase, and get out, and nobody gets hurt. But things don't usually work out that way in these kind of movies, and they definitely don't turn out that well for Ladybug. This mission brings him right into the path of all the other assassins on that train, leading to 2 hours of laughs, gasps, and even a few tears. Though the film is not without its flaws, particularly in the first act, but I'll get to that a little later. This movie is fucking insane, and the choice of director for this project was brilliant. David Leitch's penchant for stylistic, hyperkinetic violence mixed with bright, colorful visuals and hilarious characters that we saw in Deadpool 2
So dark. You sure you're not from the DC universe?
elevates this film well above the typical action comedy that you would see on something like Netflix, which ironically would probably star Ryan Reynolds. So let's just get into what works, shall we? First, the cast. Regardless of whatever the mixed reviews are saying about this film, this movie has a stacked cast, and everyone brings their own unique charm and charisma to the great material that's provided by the script. Brad Pitt's charming as usual, of course, that's not really that big of a shock, but instead of him just being a total badass with no real personality, the fact that he's written as a kind of defeated man with the worst luck imaginable that's trying to turn things around elevates him into a really endearing protagonist, even if he is an assassin. His constant spouting of therapeutic mantras,
Because if you put peace out in the world, you get peace back.
and the way he politely tries to talk things out with the assassins before they start beating, shooting at, and stabbing each other is absolutely hilarious.
You stab me? I will ruin your life the way you ruin mine.
Dude, I don't even know you!
He could have used a bit more in the way of a backstory and some character development, but for what we get, Brad Pitt's unlucky Ladybug is a pretty fun guy to spend the movie with. Joey King, who you may know from the Kissing Booth movies,
But just so you know, my boobs are fantastic. Shit.
turns in a completely opposite performance from those. Honestly, she gives one of the best performances of her career here as the completely insane and ridiculously evil Prince. And from her first few lines of dialogue and a surprisingly accurate Londoner accent to the way that she just goes crazy through the rest of the movie until the ending, she constantly surprises with just how much she's sunk into this role and how good she is at playing somebody we love to hate. Bad Bunny's fine as Wolf. He doesn't really get a chance to flex his acting chops because he's not in the movie all that much, but the parts that he is in show that he can have a definitely intimidating and intense presence, and he definitely holds his own during the amazing fight choreography and action set pieces that I'll talk about later. There's also a Japanese character that finds himself on the bullet train and face to face with the other assassins due to an incident that kicks off the film's plot, but I won't spoil what it is because this is actually one of the very few things that they didn't spoil in the damn trailer. The character's name is Kimura, and he's played by an intense and brooding Andrew Koji. Although Koji is able to prove his range with several pretty funny lines, and he even gets to join in on the action during the epic finale, as does his character's father, only known as the Elder, played by legendary badass Hideyoki Sanada, who we last saw as Scorpion kicking Sub-Zero's frozen butt in the latest Mortal Kombat movie.
Get over here.
But I won't give too much away because, like I said earlier, this is one of the only things that wasn't spoiled in the trailers. There's also some other roles and cameos in this movie that are great surprises and just add to the fun that's to be had here. But just try to avoid the trailers. I know I brought them up a few times, but they give away so much of this film, even down to the identity of Ladybug's employer that's treated like a big reveal at the very end. You also might have noticed that I haven't brought back up Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson's characters. That's because I wanted to save the best for the last. Taylor Johnson's Tangerine and Tyree Henry's Lemon are easily the standout characters of this entire movie. Nearly every conversation they have together is hilarious, whether they're arguing about who took the briefcase,
Lemon, where's the briefcase?
Oh, it's that shit. It was just there.
Or discussing Lemon's obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine and how he's able to read people based on the different characters in that show. A brilliant recurring gag that comes back plenty of times to get laughs and actually even has some importance in the plot. These two seasoned actors portray this pair of assassin brothers with a badass stoicism when necessary, but they switch at a moment's notice into something that would feel at home in a Key and Peele sketch with how these guys just bicker and bounce back and forth off each other. But this constant bickering masks an actual loving sibling relationship that's given actually a surprising amount of development, and it really leads to some heartfelt moments by the end, and I walked out wanting more of those two characters. That leads me to the next great part of this film, the action. David Leitch brings fun and unique action set pieces like what we saw in Deadpool 2, and I think that some of these scenes in here are actually better than that movie. Leitch's background as a stunt double, funnily enough, he actually met Brad Pitt on the set of Fight Club, where he was Brad Pitt's stunt double, is felt in every single inventive, funny, and exciting set piece, whether it's a knife fight between Wolf and Ladybug in a bar car, a hilariously muffled hand-to-hand fight between Ladybug and Lemon on the quiet car of the train while Karen a few seats away shushes them every few hits.
Eat a bag of dicks, lady. I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
Or even a scene that's an absolute laugh riot of Lemon and Tangerine recounting their kills from the last 24 hours because they couldn't agree on a frickin' number. The action scenes in here are yet another well-oiled, perfectly moving part of this machine that we call Bullet Train. Another great moving part here is the story, although this is one of the few parts of the movie that has some flaws in it, so I'm gonna get into those. This is a very heavy story. It's got a large ensemble of characters that all have their own backstories and tragedies from their past that they're dealing with. Each of these might seem unrelated, but the more we flash back and understand the whole picture, the more the plot in each of these characters and their stories start to make sense and build on each other, until everything comes together at the end for a wrap-up to a simple enough mystery of why the hell all these people are on this train that ties all the loose ends together in a very satisfying way that leads to a truly awesome and epic action-packed ending. There's also plenty of recurring gags and plot points throughout the film regarding phones, a water bottle, a snake. I just looked at Victoria off screen because that was a part of the movie that she wasn't exactly fond of. All of these come back around and pay off in ways that range from really awesome to just gut-bustingly funny, and they add yet another layer of greatness to this already insane movie.
Hey, this is nice.
However, the film's not perfect as much as I might have wanted it to be. Though the pace flies for most of the runtime, this is an over 2-hour movie, and the pace in the film do drag just a little bit before we head into the action-packed finale. And like I mentioned before, this is a pretty heavy plot, so there is a lot of plot and exposition to get through in the beginning to set up the rest of the film and all the characters. And the constant bouncing back and forth between everybody, intercut with flashbacks and paragraphs of exposition, gets a little exhausting. I can let this slide though because it is based off a novel, and it's much easier to balance that kind of thing in a written form instead of visual. But once all that heaviness is out of the way, and the film kicks into gear with the action, fast pace, the hilarious writing, and the surprising amount of blood and gore, those small issues take a backseat to a hell of a fun ride and a great way to spend a couple hours. The last thing I will say on what's probably one of my favorite films of the year so far is this. Remember earlier when I said Taika Waititi take notes? That's because this film does an amazing job of combining action, humor, and some genuinely heartfelt and emotional moments without feeling like they're stepping on each other's toes at all. In Thor: Love and Thunder, we dealt with some pretty heavy themes: loss, adult relationships, doubting your faith, self-identity, and even dealing with a terminal illness. But aside from one or two scenes, these are all undercut by a silly joke or a half-assed attempt at humor that really robs those emotional points of the weight that they should carry to affect the audience, in my opinion. But with Bullet Train, the script balances these near flawlessly, and when the script brings in an emotional or a sad scene, the film actually gives that scene and its impact room to breathe and be felt. I even teared up at a few points. I was surprised, so anyway, that's all I have to say on Bullet Train. Go check it out, it's really good. Thanks for watching, everyone. I've been Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions, and if you like this review or found it helpful, you know what to do. Go ahead and leave a comment. You can also scroll down and subscribe, ring the bell to be notified whenever I post again. I also post some YouTube shorts weekly. I post them also on my TikTok and my Instagram, and the links for those will be in the description below. Lastly, if you would like, you can tap or click on these cards here to go check out my channel or see my review of Prey. Thanks for watching my review of Bullet Train, and I'll see you on the next one.
Eat a bag of dicks, lady.